Welcome to the Filmistines, the podcast where we discuss all things movies. Join us as we dive deep into the latest releases, revisit classic films, and explore the art of cinema. Whether you're a film fanatic or just love a good flick, we've got you covered. From Hollywood blockbusters to indie gems, we'll be breaking down the storytelling, cinematography, and everything in between. So grab some popcorn, sit back, and get ready for some cinematic magic. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to our Patreon. We offer tiers at the $1, $5, and $20 level. For the $20 tier grants the ability to request films for future episodes. Every little bit counts. This is the Filmistines, where movies are more than just entertainment, they're an experience.
They're an experience.
All around you. And welcome back to another episode of the Filmistines, the fastest growing podcast on the planet. Did I tell you?
I didn't know that.
I'm joined today by my painterly friend, Lucy.
Hello, everyone.
So how have you been?
I've been good, my friend.
What have you been watching? What have you been getting into?
I just finished watching Netflix's Queen Charlotte. I always want to say Good Charlotte because you accidentally said Good Charlotte that one time, and now it's stuck in my head. But no, it's Queen Charlotte. And I think it's like a Bridgerton story or something like that, whatever the next few words are. And it was great. I liked it a lot. Hopefully there's a season 2. I'm sure there's going to be with something like that. Or they might go to Bridgerton and do season 3. I bet that's where they're going to go first because season 2 came out a while back. But, I'm a big fan of period pieces. Anne with an E was one of my favorites that came out from Netflix too, and they never did season 3, season 4, but that one was great. I really liked Anne with an E, so I was kind of excited when you mentioned that Hulu had a new show called The Great, and it had our boy Nicholas Hoult from Renfield in it. So I watched the first maybe 15 minutes of it, and I couldn't finish watching it. It wasn't great. The Great wasn't great. It was very... It wasn't even a period piece. It was trying to be funny when, period pieces aren't meant to be funny. You're not meant to have that kind of humor there. So, I don't know. I don't think I'll be giving it a chance.
Yeah, maybe it should have been aesthetically a little more silly if it was gonna go down that route. Because it looks very period piece.
Yes.
When you just look at screenshots. Maybe there's an aesthetic kind of clash there with what they're saying and stuff. Because, yeah, you made it sound like it was pretty cringe.
It was pretty cringe. Maybe I can finish the episode and give it my fair review, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, I watched Shazam, San Andreas with The Rock, and the first episode of Glow.
Oh. You watched the first episode of Glow?
Yeah.
How was that?
That's pretty good. It's a pretty good show.
Okay.
One of the better Netflix shows. That's all I saw was the pilot episode. Decent setup, but Shazam and San Andreas were equally terrible for different reasons. I didn't even finish Shazam, to be honest.
Oh man, I mean it didn't look great. The trailer to me, it didn't look great anyway, so I'm not surprised. But thanks for letting me know.
Yeah,
so...
the second Shazam, I should say, the new one that just came out.
Yeah.
And then the older San Andreas Rock movie. Rock sucks. I'm just gonna say it. Yeah. I know he's like some part of this multi-billion-dollar lawsuit going on right now. Don't know
details. If
he actually kidnapped someone or something. Whatever happened, I don't know. Him and several others supposedly. I don't know. It sounds kind of made up, to be honest, because it's a little too elaborate. It's kind of like. It's too conspiratorial, I guess, like the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. We got this whole empire surrounded, working off this island of his and stuff. And it's hard to get behind because it's just a little too ambitious of a crime,
Yeah.
But crazy stuff happens, Japan was run by the mafia. Mexico's still run by the mafia. So, crazier things happen.
That's
I don't know.
True.
But yeah, I need to finish Atlanta. That should be a priority.
I've seen Glow when you scrolling through Netflix trying to find your next show, but I never clicked on it. But the thumbnail looked interesting enough for me to know the name. So, okay.
It's a pretty standard, awkward Allison Brie show. She's a star, and she's just her awkward self. So, so she kind of remember Horse Girl.
Yes.
You liked it, I thought.
Horse Girl? Oh,
Yeah,
wait.
Horse
I
Girl.
was thinking Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. No.
Oh, yeah.
Horse Girl.
Horse Girl's better than that.
Yes.
That's her.
Okay. Huh.
So she's cool. She's a mood.
She is a mood.
She's a mood. So, but I like it. I liked the first episode. I don't know if I'm gonna watch anymore, but
I might watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I like it's Glow's called the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, so it it taps into my wrestling fascination. So, but she's an actress who can't get an acting job. So is she an actor? I don't know. But she's trying. She's basically. I only saw the first episode, but it looks like she's gonna end up working with these ladies and the director of the wrestling group to try to elevate his plans. I don't know what his deal is. The director because he called on all these ladies to he's casting them and he's trying to figure out what a good roster looks like, and he has no idea what he's doing. So I don't really know anything about him, but he doesn't know what he's doing. And Allison Brie's character watched a bunch of WWF and WCW, so she's kind of up to speed, and so I feel like she's gonna kind of take over in some way.
Okay.
That was the first episode, and then it was just a bunch of ladies embarrassing themselves, and then you have like it's kind of like it's kind of like any other auditions, but like it reminded me of Pitch Perfect, where you had some silly, stupid situations, and you had people who just really stood out for some weird reason. They kind of looked weird, and like there's one lady who was just like a Brock Lesnar type character. Do you know who that is?
No.
A Batista type character, and she's just big and ready to pick up some ladies and throw them, and so of course she's got to be in. And then there was this other girl who was related to these legendary wrestlers, and so she was in by legacy.
Yeah.
And then there was this other girl who was like kind of emo gothy, I guess, who just had that look already. She already had a persona, and so of course she was in already too. She was weird, so it's kind of fun like that. And then Allison Brie is like the most vanilla one there, and so they're like, nah, you're out. They kicked her out immediately, and she was not gonna have it because I guess this is her last. This is it. She's gonna have to get a real job if she
doesn't make this.
If she doesn't make this, so it's cute. It's okay. It's hard to really say right now, but I need to get back to Atlanta. Today's topic is something I was looking forward to. Owen Wilson's, not directed, but starred in Paint. Starred as a fake Bob Ross, directed by Britt McAdams. His first feature film directorial debut. He's done a few stand-up directions. I don't even know what kind of direction that really needs other than cinematic kind of camera movement. So how do you translate that into making a feature film? I don't know, but I mean, anyone can make a feature film. I don't know if it's gonna be any good, but like this was not very good. So I thought this movie was gonna be a little more serious. I thought this movie was going to try to tap into what that documentary tapped into just a little bit. I think it was a Netflix documentary about Bob Ross's domestic life. And apparently his life was notoriously private at the time and up until his death.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot of, public information out there, but there was always that rumor that he was a little bit of a, what we saw in Wilson's character doing, sleeping with his coworkers. However, that
a ladies' man
at work, not
yeah,
real crazy, but ladies' man at work. No evidence to support that. No one knows if that's really true, but the guys who made this movie definitely thought that, or at least thought that would be funny,
and
they ran with it. What if Owen will? Well, I did see this movie was in the works for a while. That we're learning it's been in the works for about 13 years.
Wow.
And Owen Wilson just signed on like 3 years ago. So it wasn't just what if Owen Wilson was Bob Ross. That wasn't the shtick from the beginning, which you could have fooled me because he did do a good job, but it didn't, that was it. He just, what if Owen Wilson was Bob Ross? It didn't go anywhere. It'd been kind of fun if he broke off from that. That was the hook. And then we got a real character out of this, but we didn't get anything, obviously. But I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a... I thought the turn was going to be a little bit more of a defamatory term, in quotes, kind of defamatory. Him being that ladies' man, maybe having alcohol and drug problems or something, not... He wasn't even married in this movie like he was in real life. He didn't have kids, the Bob Ross like character and stuff. So it was just, what if Owen Wilson was Bob Ross? But not really, I guess, because he didn't have any qualities of Bob Ross except that he painted the afro and the pillow voice. So it's weird mix of things. What did you think about this? What are your high level thoughts?
No, I mean, I'm with you. When I first saw the trailer, I thought it was going to be a bit more serious, maybe a bit more of a biopic in some kind of way.
Yeah.
And watching the first few minutes, which, the first few minutes, it's not bad because they are introducing, Owen Wilson as Bob Ross, and they have to introduce his paintings, that he's always painting the same paintings, the trees, the rivers, whatever, the TV show, the afro. I didn't know Bob Ross was a ladies' man or ladies' man at work, wherever he was.
That's
a
what they
ladies'
say,
man.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing people said about him.
Yeah, and I guess that is supported, in quotes. The evidence there is that I think ladies on TV, or ladies watching him, were...
Oh.
They were, his soulmates across the screen,
Wow, okay.
I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of that. I've heard that going around.
Yeah, that's funny. But, yeah, no, the last 20 minutes were good. They were pretty good.
I agree. We started to get some personality.
Yeah, exactly. But, the rest of the movie, it was bad. It was okay, bad, I don't know. Some parts were okay. Some parts did make me laugh. But it's just really not my kind of humor, some of these things that they have in the film. Like the, when he goes on the date with, the girl, what's her name? Jenna. And, she's vegan and she eats the meat with the cheese. I don't know. I didn't find that funny.
It's awkward. It's awkward on screen.
Yeah.
It's not the, like the what I was talking about earlier with the Brie, what's her name? Allison Brie kind of awkwardness, because she's just like a socially awkward person in the vein of like Larry David for different reasons. But this is like just
cringe.
Awkward to watch. Yeah.
It's cringe awkward.
It was super cringe. And
well, I mean, knowing that she ate that, there's going to be a joke inserted somewhere later about, her stomach, or like her stomach being gassy, or maybe going to the bathroom, throwing up, something. You knew that was headed there, which is also not my kind of humor.
Yeah. And of course it happened when they were in quotes about the hookup, even though they weren't hooking up.
Yeah.
Of course it happened there. It's like
perfect. Yeah. Got it. Next.
Yeah. Another one for me was in that same, not quite the same exact joke, but definitely made me feel the exact same way, was when they were talking over, the two characters were talking over the ham radio or whatever, and someone was like, so are we over? It's like,
yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Okay.
Are you joking me? Like, this is...
Got it.
Yeah. They said there were a couple of little exchanges like that in that one bit, in that one scene across the ham radio, that it just kept building. They were like, I think there were 3 build-ups to that joke, and it was just like, I feel like Britt McAdams and whoever wrote this maybe were inspired by their stand-up comics that they were recording, but they forgot that they weren't comedians.
Maybe.
You gotta. Yeah, the coolest part of this movie was probably when I said Bob Ross. The coolest part of this movie was probably when Owen Wilson was throwing the paint in his house, and he got, all that color, and like there was just, that was the most personality we had in the whole movie, and it was, I don't know, 10 seconds long.
Yep.
15 seconds long. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because if I were to pick a favorite scene of this movie, which I don't know if I would be able to, but that's probably it. That scene where he is throwing all the paint, he's going crazy, and then he accidentally makes a mountain. So I just thought that was funny.
Which was cute if they could have piggybacked off of that in any meaningful way, because that's the real only meaty angle they went. They deviated from, Bob Ross look-alike, or I should say maybe a Bob Ross-esque character, having this deep obsession with this very specific, vision in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't go anywhere with that, except that climax, then him going to the museum and talking to the museum guy. And
Yep.
the museum guy was like, paint what's really in your mind, don't paint based off of trauma or something,
Yeah.
It's just like, and it climaxed, and that, like, I guess that climax setup then paid off, and in quotes paid off with us seeing that painting of Catherine. It's like,
okay,
it's like, all right, that was well worth it, I guess. Hour and 40 minutes gone, but that's fine. That's fine. I was very curious about this movie, and it's a weird movie to get made because it's so Bob Ross,
Yeah, I mean,
it's weird.
It's a weird movie. They didn't, as far as I know, they didn't trick anybody. They weren't advertising this as a biopic or not even a adaptation of some sort. They weren't advertising it like that. So a lot of the reviews I was reading were very, no one liked this film, but a lot of them were just very almost hateful on the, what'd you say his name was? McAdams?
Yeah, Britt McAdams.
McAdams. Very hateful towards him and making this film. And some of them were talking about how this film was a defamation of Bob Ross. And I'm like, what? And then some of them were saying that this film was destroying a legend. Some people were reporting walking out of the movie theater because of the implications of all the sexual things that Bob Ross was doing.
Yeah.
One lady called it a rotten, sick movie, and that she can't believe that this was ever made. And then, the last comment that I wrote down was that this film was a mockery. And shame on you, Owen Wilson, for making this film.
That's funny. I wish all of that was true. That would have been awesome. I thought because they weren't going to use the Bob Ross name, they were going to take that defamatory route, which would have been awesome, because there is a little bit, it's one of those topics that's it's really a case by case basis, because there are many ladies and gentlemen out there who are involved in these sexy scandals that are very consensual, and then they turn around and it ruins their life in some capacity, and then they're like, nope, wasn't consensual, and then it's fucking crazy. It just totally fucks people up, especially today, where in a social court you're guilty until proven innocent and are rarely ever proven innocent. So I get the upset, or wanting to be upset, but there was nothing to be upset about.
There's absolutely nothing to be. I don't get the upset. I don't. I'm sorry.
Well, I get the desire to, because they probably, it's a combination of feeling tricked. They wanted a different movie, and the Bob Ross kind of emotions we have going on here, but they're not. There's just nothing Bob Ross really about the movie other than the hair, the paint, and the whisper. You know, there's really nothing else.
Okay, then start off your review saying, oh man, this isn't the movie I wanted to see.
Yeah.
But here's my real thoughts on this specific movie.
Yeah.
Not, oh, I walked out of the movie theater with this film. Like, what?
Yeah.
You just wasted $13, however much it is.
Yeah, this movie is not defamatory.
No, not whatsoever.
The movie itself, now that we're done with that, is boring as fuck. Like you said, though, those last 20 or so minutes start to pick up in such a way that I wish they could have developed the obsession with the mountain range and wanting to be, because there was this like element of insecurity to Carl Nargle.
Yeah,
that
he was scared.
That, is not anywhere to be seen in Bob Ross, and how Bob Ross is perceived. Bob Ross is probably more famous today than he was when he was alive, with the Bob Ross channel on Samsung TV. And yeah, they depicted him as being insecure, and they just didn't, I don't know, they just didn't deliver on anything they set up. Even they slightly set up. They didn't really set up much, because there was, I will say, maybe it's a funny joke. Is this a funny joke? This movie is pretty flat. like Bob Ross's paintings.
Boom.
Boom. Got him. Is that good?
It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's calling a movie flat is kind of one of those funny things. It's hard to describe, but this is the epitome of flat up into the last few minutes, right?
Yeah.
But there's just and it's no mark against The Whisper either. You know, I think Owen Wilson is the star of the movie. I think he did a good Bob Ross-esque character. I hate that it is so Bob Ross. I wish he would have had a little bit more personality. I wish he would have yelled, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I wish he would have had that moment. And we have that, in quotes, funny little moment where his boss is like, "Are you yelling at me?" And he's still whispering, but he's like whispering more sternly. And they're just keeping this joke up, and they're not. And I get it's a comedy through and through, in quotes, one of those things, comedy, right? But they could have. They had these elements of creating a little bit of a real dramedy, right?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that they touched on some things that they could have really ran with.
And it wouldn't have taken much.
Yeah.
It really wouldn't. We didn't need to focus so much on that little girl. What's her name, Jenna?
Yeah.
In the way we did, I guess. I don't want to rewrite the movie, but I'm not going to either, but it's just another missed opportunity here. We've seen a few of these movies lately.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish they would have taken his feelings maybe a little further with getting replaced, by Ambrosia.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
We didn't really
Didn't
know.
matter.
Yeah, I mean,
at the end there, he said that he did. There were like 3 things he listed off, but one of them was drugs. That he did drugs.
yeah.
It's like, when did you fucking do drugs? Just now? You can't reference that thing you just did now. Yeah, you're still on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, when he said that at the end there, I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, yeah, the characters themselves, they were not
Catherine
great.
sucked.
Yeah.
Jenna sucked. Tony, the director guy, he was okay. He was one of the better characters. My favorite characters, not really characters, but my favorite like panning to was the 2 guys in the bar. That was funny.
Oh yeah.
I liked them. They were that was a fun angle on them, that big guy and that little guy, and they were always sitting there watching, the Bob Ross like show, because it's just kind of a weird setup. Got some gnarly guys in a bar watching Bob Ross.
Yeah.
He talks to everyone, the Bob Ross like character, and I like that. The old people, of course, you gotta have them, and of course one of them comes on there and they have a paint off, and it's just, this movie almost feels like it's trying to be like a Napoleon Dynamite or a Nacho Libre or let me think of another one. Hang on, that's not by that director. I don't know, I can't think of another one, but it's trying to tap into this thing that just did not work in any way whatsoever. And I think this movie would have immediately been better if we didn't have, well, no, I mean, just aesthetically changing Owen Wilson's character would not make this movie better, but if we could have given our character a little more time, not necessarily time on camera, but time and within himself as the character to reflect and to lash out and stuff, just a few 5 minutes of yelling would have made this movie a lot better, and then the consequences of that yelling, of course. So there would have been a 15-minute change there, but that would have elevated this movie 10 times probably. Just a little yelling. I think yelling, just that could, and the consequences that come after the yelling, would change so much about this movie.
I don't think yelling would help this movie at all.
No, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
It's maximally boring. I feel like it's probably the most boring movie we've watched this year.
I'd have to think about that, but I mean, I might agree with you. I mean, we were talking about the characters. I just don't like it when films have these very cringe characters that are supposed to be funny, but they just never come off as funny. Like Beverly. Beverly was one of the ones that I was just kind of like, this is, I don't know, it's not funny. It's not necessary. It's, who thinks this is funny?
I want to meet them.
I want to meet them.
Yeah, she was insanely unnecessary.
Yes.
I could not, I forgot about her. Yeah. And then they did that joke twice at the end there, where Catherine, and then Ambrosia's mom was like, we went to high school together, and then she brings Bev home, and Beverly's like, I went to high school with your grandma. It's like, all right.
I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny.
It's funny, but like,
second.
it's just, it adds, it's just, that's what we spend time on in this film.
Yeah,
that's the kind
exactly.
of thing.
Like that's the, I want that to be like the, oh, haha, funny moment behind after everything else was great. Not this.
Ambrosia had the potential to probably be the most interesting character, and because she shows up, she completely displaces Owen Wilson's character, and we see the weird, UFO blood thing on the stump, and it's like, it's weird, and we could have, I don't know, had gotten into that, but Ambrosia's gay. That's it.
Yep.
And she starts doing the same thing that Carl, in quotes, was doing.
Yep.
I guess he was literally doing that. No quotes. He was doing that.
Yeah, they could have gone somewhere
like,
with that, because that was cool. Her introduction was cool. This young new artist is gonna take over. She's painting cool shit like UFO fucking bleeding from, onto a tree stump, whatever that was supposed to mean. It was a cool painting, and then that's it. They made her like Catherine. And then I don't know what was going on there in the middle, where she was mad at Catherine, or she was hurt, I guess, and she started painting weird shit or bad shit, I guess, like the mountains and a rainbow, and I don't know what she was saying about the rainbow not being, like rainbows don't exist. I don't know what she was saying. So I'm like, what are they doing with this character? They had the potential there. And then they made her hook up with Beverly at the end. I'm like, what? No. What is this?
Yeah.
You ruined.
I mean, they made her hook up with Catherine too.
Yeah.
And like, so they couldn't resist Ambrosia ruining Carl Nargle's life completely. taking Catherine and his job. It's just like, how? This is like, I don't know. This is like Disney Channel shit. I don't know. Like, this is not storytelling.
It's not storytelling. Yeah.
Like, there's just nothing, and there's nothing experiential about the film either. Like, it's almost like the writer and director just have no connection to the human condition, I guess, for one, and they also have never experienced conflict in life. I don't know.
Yeah, they had this one great idea. Let's make a Bob Ross look-alike. Let's get Owen Wilson to play him.
And so we started out with an SNL skit, and and I'm sure they've already done Bob Ross on SNL with someone else, maybe Owen Wilson.
And
but they're
like, oh shit, where do we take this?
Yeah.
Let's make him a ladies' man. Okay, cool. Now what? Let's bring in a new artist. Okay, all right, cool. Now what? She hooks up with Carl's ex. Oh, all right, let's run with it. And it's just like, I don't know, maybe.
And then let's reveal that Carl's ex actually initiated the cheating.
Yeah. Ooh, spicy, good one.
Stupid.
Yeah, very stupid.
This movie is stupid for the wrong reasons. We've been watching a lot of horror movies lately, and they are not afraid to tap into the stupid, and we love them for that. And sometimes, it's and they know it. All the horror guys know it. It's a dangerous, dangerous line to walk. The stupid.
Yes.
Because you can come off unwatchable. It can come off funny. It can come off genius, right? But maybe this guy should stick to filming stand-up comics. I wonder if this movie made money. It didn't really have any budget numbers online, and it made less than $1 million. So unless it was just a passion project for everyone, yeah, they're probably in the red. Is that the route? Red and black, I think. Yeah,
I think
they're in the red. The guys who made this movie. Do you have any final thoughts on this movie?
I did like the end where they faked his death. Or they didn't intentionally fake his death, which I kind of like that.
Yeah.
That it was just that bag of hair he took back from the barbershop. And they found him. They're like, he's dead. And then, they play on this whole artists get famous after they die. Which okay. It was okay, but compared to the rest of the film, it stood out a bit.
And it stood out because it played into, what the meat of Karl Nargle is, his insecurity of wanting to be actually famous and remembered. He doesn't care about the show like they want you to believe. Like the show wants you to believe. Like the show in the movie, and the movie at the beginning wants you to believe. He cares about being remembered, specifically in Vermont too, which is really nice and humble, really, that he just wants to be remembered in this specific museum because he loves it so much, or whatever. Did he say why? I think he's just. And no, it's fun that it's so small-minded in that way too. I like that. I also thought it was really weird that it took place today, like modern times, just for them to say that, just to beat the dead horse, I guess, to say that he's obsolete and old. But that also didn't really go anywhere other than into the joke where I think Jenna said, "My Uber's here." That's where that climaxed, I think, it happening in modern times.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "I don't know what that is."
Okay.
All right, we set that up from the first second this show popped up. That's the climax of it happening in modern times. All right. Nice. Yeah, I'm tapping out on this one, man. This is trash. I'm not gonna say very many movies are trash that we review on here, at least. But I was very curious about this movie. Unlike what I was talking about with San Andreas and the second Shazam, which are both trash that we will not be covering unless someone pays us, of course. At $20 a month on our Patreon at patreon.com/filmistines. This movie's terrible.
Yeah, I'm tapped out too. No high level thoughts.
Good.
Thoughts.
If you want to hear about better movies, go check out our third Saturday of October Part 1, Part 2 episodes. Our Jaws episode, that's a really popular episode. Our Aragon episode, our Evil Dead Rise episode, all great episodes on our Patreon, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Stitcher. People still hang out on Stitcher? I know you do. That's where all of our listeners are at. Thank you guys. What's your favorite episode we've done recently?
My favorite episode, I think it'd probably have to be the Dungeons and Dragons episode.
That's a great one. I love that one. That was a great movie too.
Just great movie. Completely caught me by surprise. So that was fun.
The Emily Rose one we recently did. I liked talking about that too. That was a good one. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Filmistines. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on our cinematic journey. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and gained some new insights and perspectives on the world of movies. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcasts on your favorite platform, especially Patreon. And follow us on social media for more film-related content. We love hearing from our listeners, so if you have any feedback, suggestions, movie recommendations, or book recommendations, please feel free to reach out to us. Until next time, keep watching and keep loving the magic of movies. This is the Filmistines signing off.